What is going on, guys, and welcome back to Baker's DIY Lifestyle. So we are back at it again, working on yet another newer generation Ford that has a stupid issue that Ford wants to charge an insane amount of money to repair. And honestly, it all comes down to the fact that Ford's quality from what I can tell, 2019 and up, is just complete garbage. So on any of the newer model Explorers, I believe they're from 2011 to 2019. Don't quote me on that, I'll pop it up on the screen. But they have this plastic wiper cowl, and they have this little piece of rubber on the end of the cowl. And what happens over time is the cowl will deteriorate. This rubber is not a good enough quality for it to last more than, what year is it now, 2025? It's been 6 years and this thing already needs to be replaced, which is absolutely insane because you think about cars from the early 2000s, even the 90s, you don't have problems out of plastic pieces like this. You just don't. It's incredible that Ford puts out products like this that don't last. But what's even more insane is this piece of plastic right here. Ford quoted over $350 for this piece of plastic. And then to top it all off, they said it was going to be an additional $300 to take off 2 nuts and 6 little plastic pop screws. Now, I don't know about you, but in this economy, $650 does not go very far. It does not go very far on groceries. It does not go very far on bills. And for Ford to charge that kind of money for something like this, that honestly is their fault for using a material that didn't last, just absolutely insane to me. So what we ended up doing is I went on the good old Fleabay, my favorite place for cheap automotive parts. We found this cowl for $50. And you might be worried about the quality of this piece of plastic, but I can guarantee you this piece of plastic probably comes from the exact same factory in China that the $350 Ford piece of plastic comes from. It's just insanity, the markup that Ford wants to charge people. And if you've watched my 2020 Ford Escape battery change video, you'll see the insane amount of money that Ford's trying to charge just to change a battery in a car now, and the way they create things so that it is harder for people to do their own work. But luckily, we are able to do this, and I'm going to show you the quick and easy way to do it and save hundreds of dollars. And at the end of the day, even if this piece of plastic only lasts 2 years, you can buy 6 of these things and still save money on what Ford wanted to charge to replace that one. All right, guys, so the issue we have here is if you'll look at the rubber right here, we are completely detached from the hard plastic. And you would think this isn't that big of a deal, but again, I mean, come on, Ford. It's 2019. You should have better plastics than this. You should not be putting this junk on people's cars that cost $40,000 or more and have to replace it after 5 years. It's absolutely insane. But the problem here is this little flap, and now that I think about it, I hope I didn't ruin the noise for you guys. It literally sounds like 1,000 small children blowing kazoos as hard as they can directly in your ear holes. All right, guys, so we are driving now. We are at about 45 miles an hour, and I'm gonna stick the camera right against the windshield. You might even be able to hear it right now, just so you can know exactly what we're dealing with. And the funny thing about this whole situation is if you use your washer fluid and wet the rubber, the noise will stop. So hopefully you could hear that, but that is a little tip and trick for anybody that is dealing with this problem that doesn't have the money or the time to fix it. There we go. So the first thing we're going to tackle here is removing the old cowl. And the first thing you're going to do is take these little caps right off of your wipers, and we're going to figure out what size nut we need. It looks like a 13 or a 14. Go ahead and take that nut off, and then hopefully persuade the wiper blades off pretty easily. And then your wiper blades should just lift right off. A lot of the times, since they go down on a cone with a gear set, they get a little bit stuck. But if you just wiggle them back and forth, they should eventually pop right off. There you go. So just a little bit of persuasion, they'll break loose and you're good to go. All right, so our next step here is these 6 little screw-on plastic pop tabs. So the way these things work are you unscrew them with a screwdriver, and once the screw is lost because you dropped it into the engine compartment and you never find it, then you take the rest of it out. Yeah. So now that we've removed all of our pop tabs and the wipers, there are a few clips on the back of this thing. So you just have to lift and you'll hear them pop. Right there. Like that. There we go. All right, so now you can see your entire assembly here. Basically, all that is there for is to keep water from getting down into your wiper motor assembly. All of the water will shed into this secondary plastic tray, and it'll run it down to the sides of the motor here, and it'll just make it where the water doesn't hit anything important. So that's why if you ever run into this problem, it is a good idea to go ahead and fix it, because again, it'll just keep other things from going wrong in the future. But now that we have it all apart, I'm gonna go get some glass cleaner to clean off this glass so that when we put our new one onto the vehicle, it'll have a nice fresh seal across a clean piece of glass. All right, so we're to the point where we are going to be installing the new COWL. The only thing that stinks is this rubber seal is not installed on these little clips when it comes from eBay. I don't know if you get the one from Ford, if this would already be installed. So it looks to me like there is a hole for every one of these little clips. Everything on the left side, you hook in from the left. Everything on the right side, you hook in from the right. So the first thing you can do with this little rubber seal is just lay it down, and you can see which holes correspond with which clips, and it does line up perfectly. So again, I'm gonna go ahead and try to start on this middle one here and see if I can get the plastic inserted without too much fuss. And so that one still has some of the rubber in it, and I already bent one of the plastic tabs. So we're off to a fantastic start. Let's see here. There we go. So there was a little piece of rubber inside of that hole. Now let's see what happens. Okay, there's one. Like I say, it looks like you have to stretch the rubber. And somehow get it to bend onto that tab. Okay, so this is going to take a little bit of finagling. All right, so we got the entire left side done. Now we're to the clips that are facing to the right. I'm gonna go ahead and start on the outside and work in, since that seemed to be working the easiest. And hopefully we'll have it done here in just a couple minutes. All right, there we go. So those last few went a lot faster. I think the trick is to lay it kind of flat and try to put it in at an angle in order to get the plastic to insert through the rubber without it just bending back. But yeah, once we got that little groove at the end figured out, it seemed to go pretty good. Now, on the back here, we've got all of our plastic pop tabs. The good thing is you don't have to use any of those little metal clips, so there's nothing to take off of the old unit to put on this one. You just flip it over, snap all the clips into place, and you can see them all on the windshield. It looks like there are 5 big pop tabs and then 2 smaller ones on the outside edge there. So just make sure you get 7 solid clicks around that. Then you can put your little plastic clips back in, put your wipers on, and you're good to go. All right, so now we have all of our pop tabs pushed in at the top. Now we're gonna take our little push pin clips and get everything lined up on the front here. So I can tell that the plastic does not line up perfectly. We have a little bit of a hump here. I would assume though, once it gets hot and the plastic kind of conforms to where it is, it'll stretch out. That could be part of the problem with the cost. You know, it could be just a little bit cheaper of a mold or something like that. But again, everything fits, all of the tabs mostly line up, and I think we're gonna be just fine. So just a couple of quick things to note when you're doing your install. Make sure that the rubber seal on the top here beside the A-pillar goes under the A-pillar. And then as it comes around here, you can see this little rubber tab. You can see this little rubber tab up under the fender, and then the cowl sits on top here, going towards this rubber piece. This piece will sit out, and at the very end, you'll flip it over top and just connect those 2 pieces of rubber there. So our next step to finish this job off is to put our wipers back on. If you are wondering where to place your wiper, newer windshields usually have some kind of a mark. In the case of the Ford, it is this little double T here. And then in the middle, I don't know if it's showing up on camera, but there is another T right here above my finger for the driver's side wiper. So all you have to do when you put your wipers on is just line the blade up with those T's, put them back down onto the gears, and put your nuts back on. All right guys, so that is it for the install. It is completely done. Let's go ahead and hop in, take us a test drive, and fingers crossed that noise is completely gone. All right guys, so we are back out on the road and we are getting up to speed right now. We are at 40 miles an hour, 45, 50, nice. So thank goodness this nice $50 eBay piece of plastic completely fixed our problem. The sound is so much better now. I can actually drive, and maybe I'll be able to hear when my wife talks to me in the passenger seat. But with that, if you guys own one of these newer model Fords, first off, I'm sorry. You know, we are a Ford family, and I hate to say it, but every new Ford that I seem to work on is just getting worse and worse, and that's just the quality of what these car companies are putting out. It is what it is, but luckily it was an easy fix. If this video helped you out, please be sure to share it and share the channel. Be sure to check out some of our other car how-tos and repairs. And with that, thank you guys for checking out the video. I hope it helped you out, and I will see you in the next one.